Joining me now is a new UFC bantamweight fighter who takes on Merab Dvalishvili at UFC Fight Night Atlantic City next weekend. It is Ricky Simone joining me here on the program for the very first time. Ricky, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time this evening. Just a week, a little over a week out from your UFC debut, the biggest moment in your mixed martial arts pro career. Before anything, let's go back to late last month when you defended the LFA bantamweight title for the very first time. You got the quick win in that fight, and my understanding is that you found out about your, long-awaited UFC signing pretty immediately after that fight. How did it all come together as far as you winning that fight and then signing with the UFC?
Yeah, so my manager was actually in my corner, and he was already at work texting while I was still in the cage, and they said if I wanted to fight, I had it. So I found out after I knocked out Zani, defending my world title, and I found out I got signed to the UFC like all in a matter of a few minutes.
That's crazy. You must have been on cloud nine just about the win, and then I don't know. Can you go above cloud nine because you got signed to the UFC?
Oh yeah, it was a little. It was. I couldn't even like believe it. Really, I was kind of emotionless just because it was just too much. So it was just kind of one of those things like, oh, I have to has to happen for me to believe it. Really.
So when you find out that you get the call, you're right there. Do you have family around you? Do you obviously your corners there, your friends? Is there a lot of people there that were supporting you for this fight that you were able to sort of share the news with right away, or was it more over the phone?
Yeah, no, I have a great support system with my family and my friends, and so a few of them flew out and watched me fight, and it's a moment I've been wanting to share with my dad and my girlfriend especially. Telling them that I've been signed to the UFC. They know it's been a dream of mine for a while now, and they've known the struggle, they've seen it, and they know how bad I've won it and how hard I've trained. So it was just just one of those moments that I, really dreamed about, grabbing my dad, hugging him, and freaking telling him, like, I made it.
Yeah, and how much do you think being part of LFA helped you finally get the call? Because, there was a time, there was never a time where I doubted you get signed. I mean, you've deserved it for quite a while and they weren't signing you, so you start maybe questioning what's going on, what's happening. But do you think being part of LFA was sort of the difference maker? Because at this point in time, they're basically like an official feeder league for the UFC.
Yeah, I definitely had to think so. My biggest problem was getting people to fight me. I had so many fights fall out. I was constantly in training camp, just staying ready because I couldn't get a full training camp to fight anyone. It seemed like all the fights I was offered were short notice, and I'd take them, and they still wouldn't go through. So I think, LFA, they have a stacked roster. They have guys that want to fight. They have guys that are hungry, and just like I am, just like I was, and who aren't going to say no to fights. So I think they played a big part, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to be their champ and fight those other badass fighters.
And I guess your stint with LFA almost replaced your short time at Titan FC, because when you were with Titan FC, you had the one fight with them, which you went one fight where you did fall short 2 years ago or so. I feel like LFA almost replaced that because Titan's on Fight Pass. They clearly have a great relationship with the UFC, and you're on the Contender Series, so you're on all these local shows that have tremendous relationships with the UFC, or in the case of Contender Series, are directly related.
Yeah, I definitely think so. The Titan thing was, I thought I was close then because I actually fought twice on Titan. My first fight on Titan was against a UFC vet and Alex Soto, and I had a great performance. I beat him, and I went on to be 7-0 with a win over a UFC vet. So I thought I was close then, and then I had my next fight for Titan was my first loss, and then I couldn't get a fight for almost about a year, and it just kind of came along perfect. I just stayed super active, so I think this will be my sixth fight in almost a year, about 13 months. So I've just been on it. I've just been on the grind. I've just been in shape, and I've been ready to take on anyone, and I make this dream happen.
Is it surprising looking back how long it did take? I know, again, I got to mention, the Dos Santos fight, but hey, that was for the vacant bantamweight title of Titan, which at the time was one of the better promotions, especially regionally and on Fight Pass and all that. Not the biggest loss or nothing too major. And then 5 fights in a row, 5 wins in a row. You've been looking tremendous as of late. Is it surprising that it took, the LFA title and then a defense and, everything in between to finally get to where you've wanted to be for so long?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was definitely getting a little salty. I thought I for sure, punched my ticket after that win over Chico, and then I went right back into the gym. I was staying ready. I was like, all right, they're gonna call me either for short notice fight or they're gonna call to sign me, and it didn't happen. And they LFA called me to defend my belt, and I wasn't gonna just sit out and wait, So I was like, all right, let's do this. Let me prove again.
At this point in time, you're looking forward to the future, nothing looking back. You have the UFC fight coming up, of course, your debut. But did the UFC matchmakers, before getting signed, ever sort of sit down or call you and explain why they aren't interested, or were they interested but there was no room? Did you ever get any sort of explanation?
It was always kind of the same. It was always kind of like, oh, you know how these things work. Just stay ready. It's just no clear answer. And I feel like there was no clear blueprint. And I didn't want to be like one of the fighters just sat out and waited and it was risky. I did feel like I was rolling the dice a little bit taking that last fight, but it worked out for the best. And I feel confident as ever going into this my first UFC fight.
So, of course, you last defeated Vinicius Zani in your first title defense, LFA 36, main event, March 23rd, just not that long ago. This is a bit short notice, I believe. I know Dvalishvili, your opponent, was supposed to fight someone before you stepped up for them. They got hurt. How do you deal with a relatively short camp for this fight? Is it anything different? I'm sure you've taken a few short notice fights before. Do you adjust easily, or was it a bit tough?
It's tough, honestly, just because I just got done with a 2-month camp training for a 5-round fight, so even though the fight was quick, I was still training 5-round circuits, 5-round shark tanks, 5-round sparring. So I had to make sure I treated the body nice right after that fight. Allowed myself to eat a little bit for a week, and I was still in the gym 2 or 3 times a day, but lighter. I was doing. I feel like my coaches and my team, helped me just, kind of taper off a little bit. And then, we got right back on it and checked the weight. The weight's great again. I'm still in great shape, training for that 5-round fight. I couldn't get out of shape. So just got right back on it. I feel great, and I'm as confident as ever.
So as far as your camp goes, I know, were you up in Washington for a little bit, but I do know you went down to Hawaii. I saw you hanging out with Tyson Nam. How did that all come together, and how long exactly were you down there?
Yeah, Tyson's been my main training partner since I even turned pro. I met him at Sports Lab in Portland, and we just kind of stuck together. We work so well together. Our styles complement each other. He's a powerful striker. I'm a wrestler, and we just help each other and feed off each other. So he moved back about 1.5 to 2 years ago to Hawaii because that's where he's from. And since he moved back, I have been going out and training with him and the team Hawaii Elite MMA, and they got a bunch of killers out there. So yeah, I had a light week over here with my team, and right after that Zani fight, and then I went straight to Hawaii and trained for about 1.5 weeks and got all my live stuff in with the boys over at Hawaii Elite and Tyson, and now I'm back home finishing out with back with my team Gracie Baja Portland, and I'll take off from here to Atlantic City.
Very cool. How do you think training out at Hawaii Elite will affect your game? And it sounds like, how long have you actually been going out there? I just sort of assumed that this was the first time out there, but clearly you mentioned that you've been out there before.
Yeah, so I've been going out there. I've been out there 8 or 9 times now.
Oh, wow.
In the last, I've been going out there frequently to train. I just bunk up at Tyson's house and just roll with him. We beat each other up in the mornings, chill at the beach during the day, and then beat each other up at night. So
that's the way to do it.
It's not a bad life out there. So
no,
I helped him with his camps, and then I got comfortable enough where I felt like I could do my camps there. So I did my very first. I did half my camp for the Chico fight there, and I did half my camp for the Zani fight there. And the recipe, it was working great, and so I wasn't going to change anything. And I went back and did it again, just shortened it up a little bit, and now I'm back. I'm ready to go.
How important has been training out there been for your career as of late since you first went out there? Do you feel the difference? Do you feel like a better fighter? Obviously, you got to give credit to your home gym, but do you think these trips to Hawaii have been very important for you?
I think so. Just because being able to get away and out of your comfort zone, getting new bodies to spar with, and also just getting to, I get to purely focus on fighting. When I'm home, sometimes I have other obligations and priorities, and it gets a little stressful. So when I'm out there, I can just train, and that's what I should be able to do.
Do you think you'll ever move out there full time, or will you always have a little piece of your heart back home?
I'm definitely too much of a family guy. I don't know if I could ever commit to moving out there, but I have a bunch of brothers and one sister over here. I have a big family, so over here in Washington. So I don't know if I could ever commit to make the move, but I'll definitely keep going out there every other month.
Hey, Hawaii's a great vacation spot, and it can stay like that, and no complaints. So.
Yeah, I definitely love it. I definitely need to go there and actually get a vacation, though, because every time I've been there lately, it's been just a train. So I definitely need to go there and get a little fat because their food is delicious.
Maybe after this fight, especially if you pick up a performance bonus, extra $50,000.
Heck yeah, I'm going back.
Merab Dvalishvili, have you researched much? I know you haven't had the most time in the world. You didn't have like a typical 8-week camp or anything like that, but have you been able to sit down a little bit, watch a bit of tape, and see what this guy's about?
Yeah, of course. And my coach, Fabiano Scherner, he's such a good coach, and he picks apart fighters like that. He does that so well, and so I've watched some video, and I know and they have, and he has, and we talk about it and talk about game plan. So I feel confident. I think I match up well with Merab. I'm excited for his style. He looks like a really strong bantamweight, and I feel like I'm a strong and athletic bantamweight, and I'm excited for him to come and try to take me down because I haven't gotten that too much so far in my career. I've had guys, big strong guys, trying to take me down. Most of these guys have been trying to strike with me, so. And they've been worried about my takedown, so I'm excited for the switch up in style.
Does this feel like a big fight? It should, because it is. It's your UFC debut, the biggest, most important moment in your entire career. 13 fights in. This is it, so to speak. This is not make or break, but I mean, hey, a win here would definitely sort of propel you into the better half of the bantamweight division, or you can say anything you want. But this is a very important fight for you, a big moment. Does it feel big? Are you treating it as such, or do you like to treat these step ups as just another one?
No, your next fight's always your biggest fight, and I know that, but I just feel so calm and collected going into this. I feel great. I feel, even though I feel like I should have got in sooner. I'm definitely ready at this point. My skills are there. My fight, I feel so comfortable in there now, especially after going 5 rounds with a UFC vet. So I feel like it's perfect time for me, and I just feel ready. I feel like it's my time to shine.
So going by your answer there, I assume you don't really anticipate any Octagon jitters. Do you even believe in Octagon jitters?
I don't. I feel like I'm so strong mentally that I'm gonna go out there and do my thing. But you get all these other UFC studs talking about them, so there has to be some truth to it.
Fair enough. Has it sunk in yet? We're just over a week away. By the time people are listening to this, it will probably be a little under a week away from Atlantic City, the UFC Fight Night card there. Of course, that you will be the second fight of the night on Fight Pass. Has this sunk in yet? I mean, UFC bantamweight Ricky Simone, does that sound... of course, it sounds right, but is it still hard to sort of process?
It is, man. It's exciting, and it's weird. It's weird to... It's just been like such a grind, and I wasn't sure if it was ever going to happen, so I still don't feel like it's real, and I'm excited for the week, and I'm excited to experience all the little things leading up to the fight. So I've been watching it for years and years and years, and I'm excited to finally be a part of it.
Although you might feel the temptation to sit back and relax and think, hey, I made it, put your feet up, and especially if you win this fight, hey, I'm where I want to be, UFC fighter, can't get much better than this. How important is it to erase any thought of that from your mind and know, I can still get so much better, I can still move up the rankings, this is just the beginning. I think that's the thought process fighters like you making their debuts have to have. How important is it to really focus on that?
It's ultra important. I can't get comfortable, and that's not my style anyways. I'm my biggest critic. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always pushing myself to get outside of my comfort zone and train different, and learn. So I don't see myself getting comfortable and just being happy with being in the UFC. I'm there to dominate. I'm there to show what I can do. And I know I'm going to keep pushing myself to get better and keep impressing people.
Are you an MMA fan when you're not fighting? Like, if you a big UFC pay-per-view's on, are you sitting back and watching it?
Yeah, definitely. I if there's a fight, I'm almost always watching it, unless it's like, if they're like the week of my fight, I'm not gonna be watching fights and stuff like that. But if there's a big pay-per-view on, we all go out to my dad's house. All my brothers, my buddies, everyone, we always watch the fights, and it's something we love to do, and we always do. We're all big MMA fans. My dad's and that's really how I got into it. My dad, growing up watching it with my dad and my older brother, and so definitely been a big MMA fan, and I'm always watching.
Is it kind of nice to be the second fight of the night? Not that you would probably expect to be on the main card. It is your debut after all, but is it nice being so early on? Because, hey, the main event on next Saturday, Edson Barboza, Kevin Lee, that's a fun lightweight fight. Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson, the rematch. There's a lot of good matchups on this card. You'll be able to go back and sort of enjoy them and then, go out and party or do what you want to do. Is it nice to be early on the card for that reason?
I like it. Most of my career, I've been like towards the end or the main event, and it just takes forever. It's a long wait, So, I'm actually pretty excited to be the second fight and get in there and then get to enjoy the fights.
Well, UFC Fight Night 128, Atlantic City, New Jersey. You are taking on Merab Dvalishvili in your UFC debut, bantamweight division. On Fight Pass, second fight of the night. Ricky, thank you so much for taking the time. Last question, how do you get the job done?
I think I'm going to overwhelm Merab, and he's definitely going to sleep.
Awesome, Ricky. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. Just 8 days or so, less than 8 days away from the fight, considering you are early on. If you're the main event, you'd be fighting in about 8 days exactly, but because UFC cards go on for so long. But nonetheless, thank you again. Before I let you go, remind my audience where they can find you on social media, and if there's anybody you'd like to thank or give a shout out to, any sponsors, any family, friends, anybody, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you guys can follow my Facebook fan page, just Ricky Simone, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Ricky Simone UFC. So, and I just want to thank just everyone, my family, my friends, and I had a plethora of sponsors that supported me throughout my career, and I couldn't have done it without them. So, thank you guys.
It's funny enough, I mean, the interview's over, this won't be part of it, but I was looking at Twitter and realized the UFC's in it. Has that been, I can't remember, thinking back, I don't know, is that new? Did you change it because of this?
That's brand new.
I was thinking maybe you kept it in there like way early during LFA just because, hoping, fingers crossed, maybe that makes a difference or something, but yeah.
No, I didn't want to jinx myself. As soon as I signed that contract, though, you bet I went in there and changed it.
I guess you really don't want to be calling yourself a UFC fighter before you make it, because
it
is Friday the 13th today. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Now, after all those cancellations, who the heck knows?
Yeah, right?
Did you watch 223 last week? I know you mentioned that you don't usually watch cards close to the fight. Was 2 weeks okay? I mean, could be big card. Well,
I definitely watched that one. Yeah.
What did you make of it? I mean, Khabib, he looked good. I was a little surprised by the commentary, but, a finish over Iaquinta would have been better, but hey. I mean, it was bad.
I mean, if anything, it made Khabib look a little more human, but it's just,
So maybe that
just
adds to the intrigue. I mean, maybe
I think so.
I've seen a lot of people say, "Hey, Ferguson, weren't giving him a chance really before this Iaquinta fight, but now it's a closer fight." So, yeah, I don't know. My opinion hasn't really changed. Honestly, I still think Khabib would win, but nonetheless, it's still a terrific fight. But
it just made that what if just a little bit bigger, though.
Exactly,
I think
exactly. And if they want to do Khabib Conor, if we're moving into the Conor stuff. The Ollie footage will just sell more and more pay-per-views. So I don't know if what happened last week was really the biggest negative. I mean, the cancellation sucked. Having Pettis off the card, KS, all of those, but yeah,
definitely. But I think right. I feel like they're gonna just use all that to build this mega fight with Khabib, right? And Conor.
Well, it's funny because I wasn't sure if they were going to throw all that on Embedded, but they went full force. I mean, you probably saw it. And so it's like in hindsight, not too shocking. And because they use it on Embedded, they're definitely going that path of not avoiding it, to say the least. And I mean, Dana's already sort of done a 180, saying, "Hey, yeah, Conor, we're sort of on better terms." And
yeah, exactly. And I kind of expected that from him because when DC and Jones got in that brawl, I was like, "Oh no, I think they're gonna cover it up." But then they put it up, they use it for like promotion and stuff. So I was like, "Okay, they're gonna use this."
I guess you can't talk bad about your new boss, but it is Dana White after all. What do you expect?
Yeah, I'm a company man. I'm gonna do whatever they want now. So.
Yep. Can't say anything. Keep your nose shut.
Yep.
Maybe get a few wins, then your leverage is a bit higher. But 0-0 in the UFC. Keep your mouth shut.
I'm gonna stay in the good graces for as long as I can, at least.